Welcome. Today we're going on an expedition to the exotic land of Abyssinia. Not familiar? Abyssinia was a 17th century term for modern-day Ethiopia, which has a storied history as Aksum and Sheba. Before we get to this fascinating country and its wild legends, let's review why I'm bringing the reader here. My series begins with the premise that some pretty smart guys once thought the legendary Philosopher's Stone was somewhere out on the frontier. The Philosopher's Stone legend implies that it was a primordial alkahest, which means it could transform and control matter, like changing lead into gold. When I looked into more alchemy legends, I learned that many alchemists sought vitriol, a blue-green powder, believing that the Philosopher's Stone created this substance as a byproduct. Visit the interior of the earth, by rectification thou shalt find the hidden stone. So, where'd they get this idea? The legend of King Solomon's shamir closely follows this story. To build the temple in Jerusalem, Solomon was tasked with cutting stone without tools. So he found a substance called the shamir, which could transform matter and turn any container to vitriol. Just like Ponce de Leon searched for the Fountain of Youth, early explorers went looking for this special blue earth. The most motivated explorers belonged to the Jesuit order. Curiously, the Jesuits seem to follow the same path taken by the Anishinaabe people. It was on my trip to Nova Scotia to research the Seven Fires that I visited the mysterious Oak Island. If you're unfamiliar with Oak Island's treasure, it's rumored to be several things: Captain Kidd's treasure, the Templar treasure, and the most outlandish, the Ark of the Covenant. Curiosity led me to learn more about Captain Kidd, and oh boy, was that another deep rabbit hole. This epic captain was hired by English Whig ministers to hunt down a group of Madagascar pirates. Turns out, these pirates at Libertalia had connections to the lost Templar fleet. And suddenly, I was back to Solomon. Why Solomon? The legends of Solomon are just as compelling as the biblical accounts. Along with the shamir and his demon-controlling ring, Solomon has connections to the Templars, the Knights of the Temple of Solomon, and also to the Freemasons in their account of the Grand Master Mason, Hiram Abiff. When you throw in the Ark of the Covenant, Solomon checked off a lot of boxes for me. But his connection to the Queen of Sheba sent my storytelling in a new direction. The history of the ancient land of Sheba goes back thousands of years. Ethiopia has a long history of being a God-fearing country and has some ancient variations on Genesis as well as the infamous Enoch text. Another example, Moses led an Egyptian army into the region and even married an Ethiopian princess before his political career ended and his career as a prophet began. Another eligible Ethiopian, Queen Makeda, stepped into the Bible when she visited and tested King Solomon. Apparently, Solomon passed his test but rumors describe how Makeda returned with two treasures: a child, and, in some stories, the Ark of the Covenant. Today, the city of Aksum commemorates this era. The Pool of Makeda, the obelisks, there's even a church that claims to hold the Ark of the Covenant. Well, according to them. While the Ark inexplicably vanishes from biblical accounts, the Ethiopians describe how copies of the Ark are kept in each church, which is a clever way to hide the true Ark, if that tale is real. A short distance from Aksum is another fascinating location, Lalibela. This city is named after the king who created it during the 1100s. Around the same time, Jerusalem was in deep trouble. Templar knights battled Islamic war chiefs for control of the region, putting the history and relics of Jerusalem in peril. The tales describe how King Lalibela visited Jerusalem, and upon his return, he had an audacious plan, building a city out of stone. Obviously, Lalibela figured it out, and today, 11 magnificent churches exist. The complex is fashioned as a New Jerusalem, complete with a false Jordan River. Each Christmas and Easter, thousands of Christian pilgrims fill the spaces. Instead of believing in miracles, these pilgrims come to witness a real miracle. While the type of stone is relatively soft volcanic rock, the construction of these solid stone churches so perfect that it baffles architects. No errors, no stray strokes, perfection. The Ethiopian priests have an explanation. Angels made it. While I cannot personally verify this claim, I can counter it with my own outlandish theory: Solomon's relics. With either the shamir or ring, Lalibela could replicate Solomon's miracle, a stone structure built without metal tools. The other oddity about Lalibela is, where's the 12th church? Lalibela built the entire complex in only several years, so it is doubtful the church number 12 was just forgotten about. Well, it just so happens that there is another natural stone church, far older, just a few miles away. Yemrehenna is hidden away in a mountain depression. This church is barely visible. With a lagoon and newer wall, this ancient place of worship hides a more curious truth. Behind the modern amenities, the deep recesses of the cave hold hundreds of skeletons belonging to the righteous dead who sleep here. Perhaps this is why Lalibela only added 11 churches. The final stop on our tour is another bizarre place of worship, Abuna Yamata Guh. Built on top of a high peak, simply reaching the top is a test of endurance and faith. So for these reasons and more, my heroes in the Alchemist's Ring travel to Abyssinia, and I hope they will bring the reader on an epic trip back in time.